Hello viewers, welcome to our channel Career Prep. In this video, we'll solve a few problems on rectangular seating arrangement. Rectangular seating arrangement questions are one of the most frequently asked questions in the logical reasoning part of several government examinations. These questions are high scoring since they are straightforward to answer. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell icon to get notification as soon as we post a new video. So let's start. Read the given information carefully and answer the questions. 10 persons, namely A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I and J are seated on a rectangular table such that all of them are facing towards the center but not necessarily in the same order. 4 persons are seated on the corners. 2 persons are seated on each of the longer sides and 1 person is seated on each of the shorter sides. C sits on the longer side but not in the corner and third to the left of A. One person sits between A and D who doesn't sit adjacent to C. F sits facing towards D. H sits third to the right of F and second to the left of I. Two persons sit between I and G who sits to the immediate right of E. B sits adjacent to neither C nor F. So it's given 10 persons are seated on a rectangular table facing towards the center. 4 persons are seated on the corners, 2 persons are seated on each of the longer sides and 1 person is seated on each of the shorter sides. So first draw a rectangle. Mark 10 positions such that mark 10 positions with arrows pointing towards the center. Now the positions should be such that 4 are at the corners of the rectangle and 2 positions should be on each of the longer sides of the rectangle and 1 position should be at each of the shorter sides of the rectangle. Now the information C sits on the longer side but not in the corner and third to the left of A is direct information which helps us to fix the positions of C and A. Now look for some continuation statements which refers to either C or A. Proceed from this continuation statement to complete the seating arrangement. Now it's given C sits on the longer side but not in the corner and third to the left of A and refers to C here. So C sits on the longer side but not in the corner and C sits third to the left of A. Now there are two possible positions for C. C cannot sit in the corners, but C can sit in this position or in this position on the longer side of the rectangular table. So if C sits in this position, then that will be case 1. If C sits in this position, that will be case 2. Now it's given C sits third to the left of A. So only if this is the position for A, then C can sit third to the left of A. So mark A here such that third to the left of A will be C in case 1. In case 2, this has to be the position for A such that C sits third to the left of A. So mark A in this position. So now C sits third to the left of A in case 2. So now we have the positions for A and C in case 1 and case 2. So this is case 1 and this is case 2. It's given one person sits between A and D who doesn't sit adjacent to C. Who here refers to D. So one person sits between A and D doesn't sit adjacent to C. F sits facing towards D. Now first let's consider case 1. So one person sits between A and D. So uh, either this has to be D's position or this has to be D's position, so that one person sits between A and D. But it's given that D does not sit adjacent to C. So D cannot sit here. So clearly this is D's position. So mark D in this position. It's given F sits facing towards D. So this is the position for F. Now in case 2, one person sits between A and D. So uh, this either this is the position for D or this is the position for D, such that one person sits between A and D. But clearly, since it's given that D doesn't sit adjacent to C, this is not the position for D. So D has to sit here. So mark D in this position. F sits facing towards D. So this is the position for F. So as of now, this is the seating arrangement in case 1 and case 2. So this is case 1 and this is case 2. It's given H sits third to the right of F and second to the right of I. And here refers to H. So H sits third to the right of F and H sits second to the left of I. Two persons sit between I and G who sits to the immediate right of E. Who here refers to G. So two persons sit between I and G sits to the immediate right of E. So let's consider case 1 first. H sits third to the right of F. So third to the right of F will be 1, 2, 3, this position. So mark H in that position. And H sits second to the left of I. So this has to be the position for I, so that H can sit second to the left of I. Two persons sit between I and G. Now let's consider to the left of I, then 1, 2. Two persons sit between I and G. So this has to be the position for G, but this position is already been occupied by A. So G cannot sit here. So let's consider the positions to the right of I. So two persons sit between I and G. So 1, 2. So this has to be the position for G, so that two persons sit between I and G. It's also given that G sits to the immediate right of E. So this has to be the position for E, so that G can sit immediate right of E. So now the seating arrangement in case 1 looks like this. Let's move on to case 2. H sits third to the right of F. So third to the right of F will be 1, 2, 3, this position. So H sits here. Mark H in this position. Also H sits second to the left of I. So clearly this has to be the position for I, so that H sits second to the left of I. So mark I here. Two persons sit between I and G. Now, if we consider the position to the left of I, then two persons sit between I and G. So this will be the position for G, so that two persons are there between I and G. So G can sit here, but it's given that G sits to the immediate right of E. So E has to sit here, so that G can sit immediate right of E. but this position is already been occupied by C, so E cannot sit here. So clearly this is not the position for G. So let's move on to the positions right of I. Two persons sit between I and G. So two persons sit between I and G. So this will be the position for G, and this can be the position for E, so that G sits to the immediate right of E. So this is the seating arrangement as of now in case 2. This is case 1 and this is case 2. It's given B sits adjacent to neither C nor F. Let's consider case 1. Now the only two vacant places left are here and here for B and J. But it's given B sits adjacent to neither C nor F. So B does not sit next to F. So this has to be the position for B, and the remaining position is occupied by J. So mark B here and J here. Let's move on to case 2. In case 2, the only two positions left are this position and this position for B and J. But B does not sit next to F or C. So B cannot sit in either of these positions. So case 2 is not possible. Case 2 is eliminated. So case 1 is the final seating arrangement for the given problem. This is the final seating arrangement for the given problem. Based on this final seating arrangement, let's answer the given questions. Who among the following persons sits second to the left of H? You are given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So here you are asked to find who sits second to the left of H. So H is here. Second to the left of H is this position occupied by J. So J sits second to the left of H. So the correct answer is option C, J. How many persons sit between I and A when counted from the left of A? You're given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So you're asked to find out how many persons sit between I and A when counted from the left of I. So I is here and left of I is towards this side. So between I and A there are 2 persons sitting. So the correct option answer is option B, 2. What is the position of E with respect to C? You are given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. Option A says second, E sits second to the left of C. So C is here. Second to the left of C is E. So E sits second to the left of C. Option A is correct. Let's just consider the remaining options also. Option B says E sits fourth to the left of C. Fourth to the left of C is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I sits fourth to the left of C, not E. So option B is wrong. Option C says E sits second to the right of C. Second to the right of C is J, not E. So option C also is wrong. Option D says E sits fourth to the right of C. Fourth to the right of C is 1, 2, 3, 4. H is sitting fourth to the right of C, not E. So option D also is wrong. So the correct answer is option A. E sits second to the left of C. This is the final seating arrangement for the given problem. Let's answer a few more questions based on this final seating arrangement. Four of the following five are alike in a certain way and hence form a group. Find the one that doesn't belong to that group. You're given five options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So here you have to find the odd one out. Now option A says I. I sits in the longer side of the rectangle. Option B is F. F also sits on the longer side of the rectangle. Option C, D. D sits on the longer side of the rectangle. Option D, A. A sits on the shorter side of the rectangle. Option E, C. C sits on the longer side of the rectangle. So clearly here, I, F, D and C sit on the longer sides of the rectangle and they form a group. But A sits on the shorter side of the rectangle and is the odd one out. So clearly the correct answer is option D, A. The number of persons from the right of E to J is the same as the number of persons from the left of dash. You're given five options and you have to find out which of these options can fill the blank in the question. Now, the number of persons from the right of E to J. E is here, so and J is here. From the right of E is this way. So there are 1, 2, 3 persons sitting between E and J. Now we have to find out in which of these options there are 3 persons sitting between the given 2 persons. Option A says C to H. So C is here and H is here. So we have to go left of C this way. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 persons sitting between C and H. So option A is wrong. Option B is G to D. G is here and D is here. So left of G is this way. So there are 1, 2, 3 persons sitting between G and D. So option B is correct. Option C says B to H. B is here, H is here. So left of B is towards this side and there are 2 persons sitting between B and H. So option C is wrong. Option D says A to C. A is here and C is here and to the left of A is this way. So there are 2 persons sitting between A and C. So option D also is wrong. So the number of persons from the right of E to J is 3 persons. So 3 persons are sitting between E to J. And the number of persons from the left of G to D is also 3. 3 persons are sitting between G to D. So clearly the correct answer is option B, G to D. Read the given information carefully and answer the questions. 8 persons S, T, U, V, W, X, Y and Z are sitting on the rectangular table facing the center. 3 of them sit at each longer side and 1 of them sits at each smaller side. All the information is not necessarily in the same order. V sits second to the left of X. V sits at the smaller side of the table. Only 2 persons are sitting between X and Y. Z sits immediate left of U. Both are sitting at different sides. Z does not sit opposite to V. Only one person sits between U and S. W and V are not immediate neighbors. Now it's given 8 persons are sitting on a rectangular table facing the center. 3 of them sit at each longer side and 1 of them sits at each smaller side. So first draw a rectangle and mark 8 positions with arrows pointing towards the center. Mark the positions such that there are 3 positions at each of the longer sides of the rectangle and there's one position at each of the smaller side of the rectangle. Now the information V sits second to the left of X and V sits at the smaller side of the table as direct information which helps us to fix the position of V and X. Look for some continuation statement which refers to either V or X. Proceed from this continuation statement to complete the seating arrangement. So it's given V sits second to the left of X and V sits on the smaller side of the table. So V has to sit either here or here on the smaller side of the table. Supposing we mark X here, then second to the left of X will be this position which is on the longer side. So this cannot be the position for X. Similarly, if this is the position for X, then second to the left of X will be this position which is on the longer side of the rectangle and cannot be the position for V. So clearly this is the position for X. Only then second to the left of X will be this position for V on the smaller side of the table. So fix X here in this position and V in this position. It's given only two persons are sitting between X and Y. Now there are two possibilities. These two persons can sit either to the right of X or to the left of X. So if these two persons sit to the left of X, then this will be the position for Y. This is case 1. If these two persons sit to the right of X, then this will be the position for Y. This is case 2. So as of now, the seating positions in case 1 and case 2 looks like this. This is case 1 and this is case 2. It's given Z sits immediate left of U. Both are sitting at different sides. Z does not sit opposite to V. Let's consider case 1. So Z and U cannot sit in these positions because they have to sit at different sides. So one of them has to occupy this position. But it's given Z does not sit opposite to V. So clearly this is not the position for Z. U sits in this position. And immediate left of U is this position for Z. So mark U here and Z here in case 1. Let's move on to case 2. In case 2, Z and U cannot sit in these two positions because they have to sit at different sides. But Z does not sit opposite to V. So Z cannot sit here. So this is the position for U. And immediate left of U is this position for Z. So mark U here and Z here in case 2. So this is the seating arrangement in case 1 and case 2 as of now. This is case 1 and this is case 2. It's given only one person sits between U and S. W and V are not immediate neighbors. Let's consider case 1 first. There's only one person sitting between U and S. So clearly this is the position for S, so that one person sits between U and S. So mark S in that position. Now if S sits here, then the only two vacant positions in case 1 are this position and this position. But it's given for these two vacant positions are for W and T. But it's given W and V are not immediate neighbors. So clearly W cannot sit here. W has to sit here and T has to sit here. So now mark W in this position and T in this position. So the seating arrangement in case 1 looks like this now. Let's move on to case 2. Only one person sits between U and S. So clearly this is the position for S, so that one person sits between U and S. So mark S in this position. Now there are only two positions left for W and T, this position and this position. But it's given W and V are not immediate neighbors. So W cannot sit in either of these positions. So there's no place for W in case 2. So case 2 is not possible. Case 2 is eliminated. So finally, case 1 is the correct final seating arrangement for the given problem. This is the final seating arrangement for the given problem. Based on this final seating arrangement, let's answer the given questions. If all the persons are made to sit in the alphabetical order from S in the clockwise direction, then how many persons are unchanged in their position, excluding S? You're given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So we have to start from S and move in the clockwise direction and in alphabetical order. So S, T, U. U has not changed its position. V, W, X, Y and Z. So you'll see that only U has not changed its position. So the correct answer is option C, 1. If W is related to Z and Y is related to T in a certain way, then who among the following is related to U? You're given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So W is related to Z in a certain way. Now W sits opposite to Z. Y is related to T in a certain way. Y and T. So Y sits opposite to T. Now we have to find out who sits opposite to U. So here V sits opposite to U. So the correct answer is option A, V. But let's also check the other options. Option B says the one who sits immediate left of X. Immediate left of X is T, not V. So option B is wrong. Clearly option C is wrong because option C is S, not V. And option D says the one who sits second to the right of V. So clearly this is also wrong because second to the right of V is clearly not V. Option E says T. This is also wrong since um option E is not V, it is T. So the correct answer is option A, V. How many persons are sitting between U and T when counted from the right of T? You're given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So you have to find out how many persons are sitting between U and T when counted from the right of T. So T is here, from the right of T is this way till U. So there are 2 persons sitting between U and T. The correct answer is option B, 2. This is the final seating arrangement for the given problem. Based on this final seating arrangement, let's answer a few more questions. What is the position of S with respect to V? You are given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. Option A says S is second to the left of V. So V is here and S is here. So S is second to the left of V. This is correct. So option A is correct. Option B says S is second to the right of V. Second to the right of V is X, not S. So option B is wrong. Option C says S is third to the right of V. Third to the right of V is 1, 2, 3. Z. Third to the right of V is Z, not S. So option C is also wrong. Option D says S is fourth to the right of V. Fourth to the right of V is U, not S. So option D also is wrong. Option E says S is to the immediate left of V. To the immediate left of V is Y, not S. So clearly the correct answer is option A, second to the left. S is second to the left of V. If the persons interchange their position with the opposite person, then who among the following persons sits immediate right of T? You're given 5 options here and you have to find out which of these options is the correct one. So now the persons have to interchange with the opposite person. So Y, S and W who are sitting here have to interchange their positions with T, X and Z. So T will move to this position. Similarly, X will move to this position and Z will move to this position. Similarly, U and V will interchange their positions. So U will sit here and V will sit here. So now we have T in this position. So the person sitting to the immediate right of T will be this person. Since U and V have changed their position, interchanged their positions, this position is now occupied by U. So the person who sits to the right of T is U. So the correct answer is option E, U. Viewers, please go through this video till you have understood the concept clearly. Practice more such problems to increase your speed and also to be perfect with the concept of directions, facing inside or outside, and also with the right and left sides when a person faces inside or outside. Also watch our video for solved problems on the topic hexagonal seating arrangement. If you have liked this video, please like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.